All right, I'm going to go over the process of how we're going to be ingesting footage and recording it for this short film. So this is going to be using Metahuman Animator, and we're going to be ingesting offline footage. So we're not going to be using the live link really. We'll be using the live link hub, but we're going to be using the Capture Manager portion of that. So this will just show a little bit of a process of how we're going to be doing it, because the way we're going to be doing it is we're going to be bringing a laptop, and it'll be hooked up to the Rokoko head-mounted camera. And so when we do all the recording, we were recording just directly with this already existing, what is it, the camera app that comes with Windows. I think it's Camera. I think it's actually called Camera. So we're just going to be recording to that, recording those files, and they will be directly going to the camera roll, which we actually will be moving over to the render computer that we're looking at right now. So that's it in a nutshell. So that's what we started. So we get the data. We record the audio and the video so separately. So we're going to actually be recording the actors, and we're going to be recording them with professional grade microphones and everything, and we'll be separating that from what you hear here. So I'm going to play this short just to show you, this is a first pass. This hasn't been edited. We haven't changed the animation, haven't kind of cleaned up anything like that. So this is a rough pass. You'll be able to see also in this one that, or you'll hear it, you'll hear the audio. The audio is actually from this is being recorded from the head-mounted camera, which we don't want because it's not really high quality. It's not meant to be used for that, but it is a good ground for getting the recording and being able to see, the reference. So here, I'll play this real quick for you. Space suits are getting really itchy, and I kind of have to go to the washroom, and I'm not even sure if I can go in zero gravity like this. So probably have to read the owner's manual to see kind of how this works, because I gotta go to the bathroom, and it is not gonna be pretty if I don't figure it out in time. So I will be back in about 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes should be good. Totally good enough. So the only thing I could see here is the word 30 minutes. When he says 30 minutes, you don't see his tongue stick out. That's because the Metahuman Animator doesn't pick those type of things up. So you just go in there and we just kind of add a little bit of a tongue flick for those parts if we really wanted to get crazy. Another thing you'll notice maybe is that he's not looking at the camera at all. It all depends on the performance. I was not looking at the HMC because it was really bright because of the light on it. But yeah, during the final one, we will probably either have some better lighting on set, or we'll just use that webcam and just have them look towards the light. But anyway, with that in mind, I've got the live link. Actually, won't be using the live link. We'll be going back, and we'll be using the live link hub, which if you have all the plugins and everything set up for Metahuman Animator and all that stuff and live link, you will have it. I think it's by default is set up on Unreal Engine 5.7, which I'm using. So we'll go in here and we'll just do tools, and then we'll find the live link hub. I'm going to launch that. It's launching it in the background. So I'll show you that as that comes in. What you want to do is you want to note where your location is. So here I've got my my OneDrive stuff under the pictures camera roll. So I'm just going to copy that location, or take note of that. You don't have to copy it. Once the live link hub opens up, you want to switch from live data to Capture Manager. For this specific workflow, that's what we need to do. Otherwise, you'd be using live data that would be streaming directly in. But for this, again, we're just using offline data, which we need to. So for add device, I'm just going to add a device. It's going to be the mono video ingest, and then we click on this guy, and then we'll have options over here. The take directory we can specify, like I said earlier. I'm actually going to paste this because I did actually copy that. And then you can see camera roll actually. And then this is just, it's not going to show anything underneath it because it's just a folder select. So you just click on folder. You'll notice all the files that are in there, which is this one. And what I'll do is I'll just click on this, and then we want to ingest this data. So if we go add to queue, it's going to bring it up here. We'll have some options over here. I don't really need to change anything. Everything is good there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start that process. This is going to it's going to ingest the footage, and it's going to put it into our folder so we can kind of work with that as well. So let's just take a second here. And I'm just going to minimize that over here. So once it is actually done, I'll show you where it will go. It will go into content, capture manager, imports, and I named it Nick. I think this one's named Nick. We'll see it in a second because it should bring it in here. Um, no, it didn't. So actually, sorry. This is where you're going to get the name, mono video ingest. If you set that display name to Nick like I did last time, you will get a folder called that. But if you leave it the way it is, it's mono video ingest. It would be really really good to do that for particular capture sessions, or what I'm probably going to do is be breaking it out into different characters. So you'll have different characters so you don't have to dig so much. This big long name is based on the file name. So again, with this file name, this is what was generated um, by the video webcam software. So what you would probably most likely do is name that the same as, like, your take and your shot and your actor name. So I didn't do that, so it looks like crap, but we will do that for on the day. So once you have that, you will open this up. Now you've got a bunch of files here. What you want to do is go back into here. I actually have a folder under my Echo Velocity characters and my metahumans. I've put it into here. I've created a metahuman character, which you will do when you're creating your process, your metahuman character. But also I've right click and then just create. I've created a actual Metahuman performance. Now you just right click on that and create a performance. I already have one. I named it MHP Morrow. And then when I open that up, you'll be able to see what I'm working with here. So the first thing I did was I'm just going to reset this back to the way it should be here. So by default, it's depth footage. You want to switch that over to monocular footage. And then under monocular footage, you want to set the file that you have. So this is the file that I just ingested now. I want to play with a couple other things. This one here by default is not going to be, so I'm just going to set this back to default. So I've brought that in. So yeah, this is what you're going to be looking at when you first come in. So you want to switch depth photo to monocular footage. Then you want to choose the footage that you have just ingested. And then I don't worry about time code. I'm not using any of it. Visualization mesh and mesh is what you should be using. So I put Morrow, and then I'll be looking for his face mesh. So that'll pull that guy in. Another thing that you want to do is the head movement stuff. We don't want to do any head movement because I'm recording specifically with the Rokoko head mounted or HMC. It's all fixed. We don't want to be playing around with head there, especially on an HMC. It's going to look really weird. Also, I'm using the XN's MVN hardware for the body, so I'm not going to need that. I'll be capturing the head movement rotation data from that. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and switch this transform track to disabled completely. So now we have everything that we need to for that. And you can see if I hit process, it will actually take the data from here and it'll put it onto our character so we can kind of revisit. I believe it does have audio as well, so if you want to see what it's looking like and just kind of give it a rough look. It's definitely not going to look as good as it will on the character, but that is totally to be expected. So once it's completely finished with its ingesting or its processing, we will have the option to export the animation at that point. So I'm going to quickly take a look at it. Spacesuits are getting really itchy, and I kind of have to go to the washroom, and I'm not even sure if I can go. So you can see that that's actually looking pretty good. So we can go ahead and we can export the animation. I also have a subfolder in my Eli Morrow folder called animation. So I just put that in there as line 2. This one is exactly the same as line 2. So I'm not going to save this data, but I'll show you how that works. And once you do that, you can save all this data and stuff. You'll be kind of coming back to this file for each performance. But for now, we've got that. So in your sequencer, when you do go over to your characters, you click on this character. We're going to need to add a couple things. I'll show you this. So we got BP Morrow. We want to add him to the scene. I've got him in there under characters. And we want to add, when you do add him, you'll actually have the body and face, I believe. If you don't have it, just add it. But when you do add it and when it does come in there, you're going to notice that there's going to be a Metahuman control rig. I've kept the one under the body for now, but the one under the face I had to delete because it overrides the animation that you add. So just delete that little component. I don't have it right now. And then once you do that, you can add an animation track, and then we choose the animation track that I just ingested. Once I have that, we have our animation. If you wanted to add audio, you could just add an audio track here, and then you just add that to this ingested folder. So when you go to content capture manager imports, and then we do this mono ingest, we've got an audio file as well, and then you just kind of reference back to that audio file in the sequencer, so you can add it in there. Again, this is the audio that we imported from the HMC, so it's got the crackling and bouncing and stuff like that when you hear me move around and everything like that. So you would want to replace this with your higher quality stuff. Then from there, I just threw it into your render queue, and I got a decent looking animation for it. It's kind of the same thing in what you're doing. So it looks pretty good right off the bat, but this is going to be our process. So this is more of a video for me to kind of refer back to while we're doing our process and everything like that. But I just figured I will probably share this with the community, so anybody that's doing this type of pipeline for motion capture, they can actually do it as well. So again, this is kind of a comedy skit thing that this is not meant to be a comedy skit, but I did throw it in there as kind of just an ad lib thing about spacesuit bathroom thing going on. But that's just my test here. So once we're ready to rock, we're going to go and we're going to do the real recording with the real lines and make it a little less weird. And then once you see the facial or the body animation, it's really going to rock and look really, really good. So I guess since I'm going to be recording this sharing this with the community, if anybody has any questions or anything about the process or anything like that, or anything you want to add to it or remove from it, just let me know. Anyway, that's it for now, and have a good day.